Something to consider about theistic witchcraft is that our relationship with deity is probably a bit different than what you might expect if you're more familiar with theistic religions of other types, especially, for example, Christianity. In theistic witchcraft, we tend to see our relationship to deities as being a working relationship and not quite a relationship of equals, but far more closer than this idea that of a deity as this high supreme being that goes beyond above who we are, and we tend to see things that we can have conversations with our deities, we can disagree with our deities, we can dialogue with our deities, we can negotiate with them. And that doesn't mean that we, don't have, obligations to them. But even then, that obligation is not, because, they're a deity and we must obey them. It's because we have come to an agreement with that deity that, yes, we will make this commitment to you because of some sort of mutual benefit that this agreement gives us. So by fulfilling our obligations, we get benefit from it. And it's only something that, we do because we agree to it. It's not something that is commanded of us or demanded of us. So there's a few things to think about when considering theistic witchcraft. Have a good day, and blessed be. One of the weird things when dealing with proselytizers, which in my experience is mostly Christians, is that they get very obsessed with this idea of the afterlife and salvation. And those are concepts that really don't have the same place, if any place, in my own religion. I do believe in an afterlife, but the whole point of my religion is not to get into that afterlife. Or if it is, the way to get into it is very different. And certainly there's no concept of salvation, the idea that, we have to be, led into that afterlife by some savior that's saving us from ourselves, I'm a witch, Witches tend to be very self-empowered, so if I'm going to get into the afterlife, it's going to be through my own actions. But, even that's not difficult. The bar for entry into the afterlife in my religion is pretty simple. You get in. There's a well-known line from the Charge of the Goddess, written by Doreen Valiente, in which the Wiccan goddess claims, "All acts of love and pleasure are my rituals." And it's a very well-known line, and it's something that is often cited as examples of how sexually permissive, the craft, particularly Wicca, is. And I just think about, though, have you ever thought to take that line literally and actually see acts of love and pleasure as religious rites, rituals, as something that you do in celebration of this life, of this body, of the love that we can share, of the pleasures that we can share, and even the pleasures that our bodies can give ourselves. And I would just invite you to consider that, how that itself is a religious rite, something that is not necessarily, deity-focused, but is human-focused. Because I think our religion is as much about humans as it is any sort of divine being. Just some food for thought for today. Blessed be. So, one of the things that always gets me is the tendency of a lot of witches, especially Wiccans, and I'm going to say public Wiccans and eclectic Wiccans, push this whole idea that you can't do harmful magic, you can't harm anyone. The Rede says you can't harm anyone. Well, here's the thing I find interesting about that. Rede means advice or counsel. The Wiccan Rede is advice or counsel. Now let's compare that to another greatly known piece of Wiccan literature and liturgy called the Charge of the Goddess. Now a charge is a command. It is an order. Now the Charge of the Goddess has that wonderful line in it that says, that you shall be naked in your rites. Now, a lot of Wiccans will explain to you why it's okay to ignore that and why you don't have to be naked in your rites, and that's okay. I don't practice ritual nudity either. But I just find it interesting that, people get, very, command-worthy about the Rede, the advice, and the counsel about harming none, and yet hand wave away the charge or the command to go naked in your rites. It doesn't make sense. Just food for thought. Have a good day, and blessed be. One of the things that just makes me shake my head is all of these rules about when you can do magic and when you can't do magic. You must do this kind of spell during a waxing moon. You must do this kind of spell during a waning moon. You shouldn't do magic during the, Gemini, while Gemini is retrograde. Okay, here's my thing. Magic is directed by need. Hopefully you're doing magic because you really want something badly, or you really need something badly. And while I agree it's good to plan around, certain events if you can, and you have the foresight, sometimes your need is immediate. And if you need something right now, do magic for it. Don't let lunar phases and, planetary alignments and, retrograde motion stop you from doing what you need right now. Blessed be.